Chapter 7 Way Too Big. We can land there, Haru said after a long time in the air. In the distance they saw high mountains, reaching higher than the forest. When they landed, they looked around. They were able to see most part of the forest. In the farther distance, they saw a big light coming from the burning tree. On the other side, they saw a black forest with leafless trees. What have I done? Drake asked himself as he sank to the ground. Since I have arrived, there's been nothing but problems. The king of the forest is dead, the great tree is burned down, Perseus is in so much danger, and it's all because of me. But Drake, Julia started. To everyone in Dragonia, you are hope. But Julia, understand, I have no idea how to defeat Mordor. Oh, and in case you missed it, no one does. Drake, I bet there is a way. Drake didn't answer. Drake, don't give up. I might have an answer to your question. Huh? Did you say something, Haru? No, why? Drake, here. Drake turned around and looked at his dragon. The dragon was talking to him again. You might be wondering why no one else can hear me. You might not want to hear what else makes you special, Drake, but you can talk to dragons. I can what? It is very rare. Not all dragon riders have the ability to do this, and you don't need to be a dragon rider to be able to talk to dragons. But there is one other dragon rider who can. Mordor. What is Drake doing? Haru asked Julia. I have no freaking clue, she answered. The dragon continued talking. Some say Mordor is a fallen god, but who knows? But if this is true, you might be able to defeat him with a weapon made by the gods. You could travel to Godania, the land on the other side of the sea. Only then Drake noticed that behind the mountain lay the sea, so big that Godania wasn't even visible yet. So the gods, Drake said. The gods live hidden among us. You'll find a temple in Godania. In your world, people call the gods with certain names. Our god, Haven, also known as Zeus, Odin, Jupiter, and Helen, known as Hades, Hell, Pluto, and so on. Wow. But there's another way. Pi, or Poseidon, Aegir, Neptune, his sons are Cyclopses. If I am not mistaken, they guard a weapon made by Hephaestus, or Hephaestus. If you travel through the dark forest, you will stumble upon a cave. Somewhere in this cave, you should be able to find that weapon. It is faster than crossing the sea, and you might not expect it, but save it too. I can't believe it, Drake said, surprised. What is it, Drake? What language were you speaking? Haru asked. Why did you keep staring at your dragon? I can talk to dragons. You're kidding, Julia said, surprised about all the things Drake turned out to be able to do. And there's something else. I know how to beat Mordor. What? How? My dragon just told me. He knows much more than we do, and after a little bit of brainstorming, he knew what to do. Well, tell us, how can we beat him? Haru asked eagerly. There is a chance Mordor is a fallen god of some sort, which might be the reason for his immortality. We have to look for a weapon made by the gods if we want to be able to strike him. And where can we find a weapon like that? Haru asked. In the cave in the dark forest, a cave guarded by Cyclopses. What are Cyclopses? Julia asked. You don't want to know, but be on the lookout for something big. After Drake, Haru, and Julia mounted their dragon, Hippogriff, and Pegasus, they flew away from the mountains. They were heading for the dark forest. It was right next to the mountains, so it didn't take a lot of time for them to reach the forest. They landed right at a spooky entrance. This forest gives me the creeps, Julia said. You sure it's a forest? There's not even a single leaf. We gotta be careful, I'm assuming, Haru said. Indeed, Drake said. Hey guys, should I give my dragon a name too? Wait, what? What's with that timing? Julia asked. Oh, I thought about it before we landed just now. I was thinking about Arian. Sure, Julia said, confused. That sounds nice. Alright, Arian it is. Let's go in. They wanted to go in, but Saphira refused to follow. Guys, I don't think Saphira really likes this forest, Julia said. Yeah, it seems unhandy to take them anyway, Drake said back. The other forest was easy for them to navigate through, but this one is much more enclosed. Yeah, take a dragon through that, Haru said. If they can't move, they're in danger. I'm sorry, Arian. We'll be back soon. Drake, Haru, and Julia left the creatures by the entrance of the forest. Let's go. Carefully they entered the forest, their eyes wide open. Many silent minutes passed by, but eventually the silence was interrupted. What was that? Drake asked suddenly. What was what? Haru answered. But then Haru heard the sounds as well. All around them they heard rustling. All of a sudden, a creature flew by Julia's head. She screamed so loudly that more of them came flying out of the darkness. Easy, Julia, they're just bats, Drake said. Oh, okay, sorry. At that moment, more creatures appeared, but these weren't bats. Careful, Drake yelled. Those are not bats. Drake, behind you, Julia yelled. Drake had already pulled his sword and managed to hit one of the creatures. They were then able to see that they were being attacked by the ravens Drake had seen in Purcell's earlier. Julia had her bow strung, tried to hit one of the ravens with an arrow, but she missed the first one. She strung her bow once more, and this time managed to hit one. Got one. Ah, Haru! He bit me in my arm. Their teeth are ridiculously sharp. They are not normal ravens. You still alright, Haru? Drake asked. Yeah, I'll manage. Thanks, Drake, but the fight is long from over. Behind you! Drake reacted in time and sliced one of the ravens before he could get to him. The next raven that tried to attack Julia got hit by Haru's boomerang. You actually got one with that thing. Thanks, Haru, she said. Don't act so surprised. You're welcome. More coming from there, Drake yelled. Suddenly, a human figure came jumping from behind the dead shrubs. Out of the way, kids. Leave this to me, the person said. Who are you? Julia asked. You really want to know that now? Yeah, never mind. The man was holding two thin swords with which he was able to kill every raven coming his way. He was fast, skilled, and hard to catch up with. No raven managed to pass, and in a short amount of time, none were left. You are ridiculously good at this, Julia said. Thanks. Yeah, those ravens are annoying little critters. Luckily not that dangerous. Haru looked at his wound and back at the man with a, you sure about that, look. My name is Darren McLean. And you are? These are Haru and Julia, and I'm Drake. And not that dangerous, they were quite a handful for us. Ah, Drake, about time. Oh, and not to me, I've had my fair share with bastards. You know about the prophecy? Of course I do. Wait a second, Julia started. You're human, aren't you? I am. But no follower of Mordor? No, I'm not. Thanks for the insult. And by the way, with the things that Mordor's followers do, I'm not sure we can even call them human. No, I'm just a simple adventurer. I once traveled through the marvelous lands of Scotland until I decided to take a swim in Loch Ness. Before I knew it, I was here, in this magical paradise. The others looked around them. Not that much of a magical paradise, they thought. Since then, Darren seemed to find it hard to continue. Since then, I never returned. Well, thank you for saving us, Drake said. You're welcome. I hope you can save the land from that Mordor fella. The land's been looking grimmer by the day. Oh well, good luck, kids. See ya. Wait, can you help us? Drake said, but Darren had already vanished. Alright, that was weird, Haru said. Yeah, let's continue, Drake said in slight confusion. After a long while, they finally found the cave. There we go, Julia said. This should be it, Drake said. Let's go in. Carefully and silently they went in. The cave was very dark. It was big enough for a giant to fit through. The ceiling was covered with stalactites and the ground with stalagmites. It was a long, scary trip through the dark cave, but eventually they stumbled upon light. Light, the weapon must be close, Drake said. They continued walking towards the light source. When they found it, they had entered a bigger part of the cave, a more open spot. Giant torches were placed against the walls. When they looked at the middle of the open spot, they saw a golden, glimmering sword stuck upright in a rock. There it is, Haru said loudly. Shh, quiet, Drake whispered. The Cyclopses might hear us. Oh, well, sorry, Drake, but I haven't seen a single sign of something big in this cave so far, let alone any creature. Hey, help me lift this sword. It's really heavy, Julia said, who had pulled the sword out of the rock and was trying to carry it. So I guess it's not King Arthur's story, Drake said. You read too many books, Drake, Haru said. You really think I got all that from books? Drake asked, laughing. You're right, that'd be weird, you and reading. Well, for all we know, I might be the chosen one, Julia said, chuckling. All right, King Julia, let me take that from you, Drake said. Drake took over the sword from her. Heavy, you say? I'm just not as strong as you are, okay? I've noticed. Can we go? Haru asked. Yeah, wait, Haru, do you have some water left? Julia asked. Yeah, catch. Haru threw the water bottle they had gotten from the dwarves earlier on, but he couldn't aim properly, so the bottle fell on a rock behind Julia. Although, they thought it was a rock. What's up with your aim? Oh well, nothing happened. Something started moving behind her. Julia, whatever you do, Drake started. You know what? Just run. Run! Julia looked behind her and had the scare of her life when a massive eye was looking right at her. Rocks came sliding down, and the monster that was hidden underneath the rocks awoke and rose up. The monster roared with a deafening frequency. It swung its gigantic arm at Julia, but she managed to get away in time. You woke him up, Drake yelled. Is that a Cyclops? Julia screamed. Yep. Thanks for warning me. Julia screamed in anger, in fear, and in sarcasm, while they were all running away from the Cyclops that was chasing them. The enormous one-eyed monster kept chasing them while swinging a gigantic bat. He knocked countless stalactites from the ceiling that they all barely managed to dodge. They ran for many minutes with a furious Cyclops on their tails. There's the entrance, Drake called out. They'll never fit. Drake exited the cave first, followed by Julia and Haru. That was close, Haru said. The Cyclops didn't fit through the opening, so he started smashing to try and make the opening bigger. Um, I don't think a wall of half a meter thick will stop him for much longer, Drake pointed out. Cracks started appearing in the wall. The Cyclops stopped smashing for a bit. Did he give up? Julia asked. No, he's getting a running start. Run! Drake shouted. The moment all three turned around and started running again, the Cyclops bashed through the opening of the cave. Boulders and debris came flying past their heads. The Cyclops kept chasing them while knocking over everything in his path. All the bats and ravens were scared off. Drake, Harold, and Julia kept running and were so close to giving up. They were tired and couldn't bear to run for much longer. But when it was most needed, they could see the light again, the entrance of the forest and the way to escape. There it is, Drake said exhausted. If we get there, mount quickly. They finally made it, and when Arian, Sapphire, and Haru's hippogriff saw what was coming their way, they prepared to lift off immediately. Drake and Julia took off right away, but Haru had some trouble again. What is wrong with you? Come on, lift off! Haru kept yelling. Only when the hippogriff paid attention to the immediate danger, that he ignored at first, once again, he took off right in time. The Cyclops swung his bat but missed. They all got away in the nick of time. The giant roared so loud that it was to be heard from kilometers away.